And here it really feels like he knows that she's listening to him. Like later in the drama, when he finds out and he's talking to her, this feels like he's really talking to her. And as an audience, it's amazing. Welcome back to my series of scene breakdowns. We are now in episode number 13. I asked you which scenes do you want me to break down. You did all have your thoughts, not any clear-cut winners, but I will try to go with 3 scenes. And the first one that many people really wanted to see was when Ki-eun finds out that, basically Yoonhee has been having an affair. They're visiting the brothers and he's just seen the door and he's put his hand in it. He's like, oh, somebody punched this door. He put that together because maybe of his own violent tendencies.
싸웠어요? 아니요. 싸운 건데 뭐. 문자 보니까 주먹으로 내친 것 같은데. 아, 박동훈 이거 안 하던 짓 하네. 왜 싸웠어요?
It's interesting here, really, the energy that he's bringing to it. It's a bit like innocent, but at the same time, quite persistent in his typical way.
별거 아니에요. 아, 별거 아닌데 주먹을 써요, 이 인간이? 그냥 제가 잘못했어요.
And it feels very much like she's doing her best to lie and hide it for Dong Hoon's sake, in a way, in order to make sure that the worst thing that he can think of, which is his family finding out, doesn't happen. Even though at this stage, I think, with where they are, like she's just waiting for everything to come out and for them to, break up, because she can feel that this is obviously not a way to have a relationship going forward.
형수가 뭘 잘못해? 뭐 형수 바람 폈어요?
Love how they shot this, how they acted this, just literally by her not saying anything and becoming quiet. That's exactly how, how it happens when somebody just basically puts their finger on exactly the thing that you did, that you're supposed to say no to. And she's fine deflecting, but she just can't lie about it, I guess. She can't straightforwardly lie about it. Now that he's literally said the exact thing that happened, she just can't pretend anymore.
이거 참 아무 말 안 하면 진짜인 줄 알잖아요.
But it's so incredible to him that this could have happened. It's that even now, it feels like he can't believe it yet, even though it's becoming clear.
아니라고 해야죠.
I just love the pacing of this. How long it takes for this to sink in is so real. It's so normal how long that takes when something like this becomes clear to you. And it's just so beautifully acted, scripted, directed.
빨리 아니라고 해요.
And here's like, it feels like here is where she's literally just trying to say it for Dong Hoon's sake and see if it works. But this is like, oh, I know I said to Dong Hoon that this will never come out, and so I must at least try, but it's very unconvincing.
아니에요. 형수 진짜 바람 잡혔어요?
Yeah, and when she says it, it sounds so bad that it confirms basically what's happening. And of course, Sang-hoon is listening at this moment, and in a very sensitive way, he literally just, typical to his style, he just goes away and stays away to not put any more stress into the situation. Whereas Ki-hoon, of course, gets all upset. And it's just how they get upset in their own ways is so unique to them. So I just love, obviously, like everybody else that's been commenting on the Vote Now video, just love how such a unique way of getting that information out and getting that revealed. At the same time, so believable and so real. Now, the next scene I want to show you is one of my favorite, really surprising scenes. And then some of you also mentioned that it was very surprising but incredibly moving. That scene, just made me break out in tears. When Sang-hoon apologizes to Yoon-hee out of nowhere. So the brothers have been drinking together. It's also a great scene. Dong Hoon has been saying that nobody ever tells him that it's not a big deal anymore because his dad is not around anymore. And Lee Ji-an has been listening to all of that. But there is this little scene where Sang-hoon steps out and he calls Yoon-hee and he apologizes to her. God, it makes me emotional. Let's have a look.
걱정하지 마세요. 동훈이 우리랑 같이 있어요.
And it's like he's trying to not even mention it and just trying to reassure her that Dong-hoon is with them and all of that. But really what he wants to do is what he's saying now.
죄송합니다. 진짜 죄송합니다.
And the fact that he's apologizing to her is so surprising, but at the same time makes perfect sense. And you can see she's crying and he's crying. It's this ongoing theme that Sang-hoon feels responsible for being such a failure. It's almost like he's saying, I'm sorry that you married into such a family of failures so that you had to go have an affair with somebody else that's more aspirational. It feels almost like that. It feels almost like he's saying, I'm sorry that Dong-hoon is always with us, and therefore it's our fault that you went and had an affair. It's just, it makes perfect sense on an emotional level, but at the same time, it's so unexpected and it's so moving.
혼자 고생하시고 진짜 죄송합니다. 전요 제 동생이 동훈이가 이 얘기를 아무한테도 안 했다는 게 지 혼자만 마음 아파했다는 게 그게 너무 슬퍼.
But it's actually, you know what, I was just thinking about it, listening to it, but he's also just sorry for her and for them, what they're going through. And maybe it's not even just the guilt, but there is some sort of level of guilt as well, I believe, because he has this underlying thing that he's a failure, and that maybe someone like her would be disappointed in having him in her family. But at the same time, I think he's also just purely sorry for their pain and for the stress that they're going through and what Dong Hoon is going through. That's also what he seems to be crying about, really. that he's putting himself in Dong-hoon's shoes and how it must feel for him. But also that he says that she was all alone going through this.
근데 그건 동훈이가 재수 씨를 그만큼 사랑한다는 거죠.
And it's moving that he's like trying to also somehow repair their relationship here. Oh my God, this scene.
우리 동훈이가 그런 놈입니다.
And now this is another great scene when they talk, but we're not going to go there for a second. We are going to go to my favorite sequence in this drama. My favorite sequence in this drama, in this episode, which is when, you probably guessed this, when Ji-An texts Dong-hoon and he starts talking back at her as if she could hear him, which we as the audience actually know, but he doesn't, even though we start thinking, does he sense it? Just as a quick reminder for the context, Ji-An has been listening to the whole brothers drinking, Dong-hoon talking about nobody ever tells him it's not a big deal anymore. You know, the fact that Dong-hoon was more worried about the brothers' reactions than his own, in a way. And then she gets the call from her friend that the police have found him and that they're after him and she should, you know, bounce, basically. And so she realizes she needs to go on the run. So for me, this scene is like her trying to say goodbye to Dong-hoon without saying goodbye, but just by giving him exactly what he needs to feel better for the day after, because she's obviously been suffering with him here. And that's what makes this scene so beautiful. Let's talk about it. They're driving back from the drinking and his brother's right next to him, which also is important for the scene.
내일 인터뷰 잘하세요. 아무것도 아니에요.
Yes. Yeah, and when you watch it, you know, she's telling him exactly what he says, nobody ever says to him. So she's really finding the right words to comfort him and make him feel better and make him feel understood. And what he does next is really special. And I love how they did that like that, because it is so poetic in a way. And I love poetic things, okay? So let's have a look. So his brother knows her name and picks up that she just texted him. And I don't know, she's waiting for a reply.
고맙다.
I don't know why this is so great, but it is great because it's like this triple layer of stuff, right? We know that she hears him. Obviously, he doesn't know that she hears him. So he says it anyway because he doesn't want to text her back, because that would mean somehow acknowledge their relationship. And then especially with his brother sitting there and all that, he doesn't want to. He just doesn't want to. It's so beautifully done. It's also hinting at that time in the future when he will find out that he knows she's listening to him. The fact that he just says it out loud anyway, that it's important enough for him to say it, it just gives this vibe of we understand each other no matter what. But at the same time, it's also true. She can hear him. So I mean, I can't even explain how beautiful this is. To me, it's just a really poetic way of basically already hinting at what's going to happen later. But also, he must know in a way, on some level, it feels like there are hints that he, on some level, seems to just know already that she listens to him, if that makes sense, in a weird kind of way, without consciously knowing it. Because at times he's hinting at, you already know what I'm going to say anyway, or you already know what I'm thinking anyway. There are these kind of hints in the drama before as well, which is a way of basically preparing us for the moment when he does find out. From a dramatic perspective, it's just beautifully done.
그럼 들리냐?
Yes, actually.
문자해. 고맙다고.
But I love that the brother is now talking him into like, come on, you can do that much, you know? Just text her already. You don't have to feel guilty about that.
왜? 왜?
Are you keeping a distance? That's another... It's like when a character says things which make perfect sense in that situation, but at the same time, it puts the focus on the topic, on the thing that the writer wants you to focus on at that point. And that's what makes that great dialogue.
죽고 싶은 와중에 죽지 마라. 당신은 괜찮은 사람이다. 파이팅해라. 그렇게 응원해주는 사람이 있다는 것만으로.
And it's like we're picking up from the previous scene and he's explaining his relationship with her, you know, and it's such a beautiful, again, poetic scene here that this turns into. And the mood becomes very thoughtful and poetic. Yeah, poetic. It becomes very philosophical. And it ends up beautifully in that shot when she gets out, but we'll see that in a minute. And it's so beautiful that she can hear all of this.
숨이 쉬어져.
Because this is all she needs to feel at this stage, that she can also do good things for him, that she can sort of redeem herself a little bit in the way that, you know, she didn't just mess with him. That's all she's been trying to do. And now before she has to leave, this is actually a real comfort for her, you know, that he can say these things and she can hear them as well. Because, hey, after this, it's back into the world by yourself, on the run, you know? So this is actually really comforting her back, that she can hear him.
이름은 누구한테 어떻게 볼지 뻔히 아는데.
뭐 그렇다고 고맙다는 말도 못해? 죽지 않고 버티게 해주는데 고맙다는 말도 못해?
Beautifully shot as well. I love these evening walks, you know, how they did that all the time. Beautiful. But this, yeah, it's just, yeah, moving.
해도 돼, 그 정도는.
And it's that whole husband guilt thing. Are you allowed to have a really close relationship with another woman that you're not doing anything with? You know, why can you not have that? Is that emotional intimacy is that already like cheating or what? Now, I am not that structured, I guess, with my relationships, but the topic itself is on the line. And here it really feels like he knows that she's listening to him. Like later in the drama, when he finds out and he's talking to her, this feels like he's really talking to her. And as an audience, it's amazing because even though he doesn't know that she's listening to him, it feels like he does. And we know she does. So it's just on so many levels. It's such a beautifully constructed scene.
옆에 있어줬어.
And it feels like this is goodbye, you know? This is why she texted him in the way. This is her goodbye to him, right? Because she knows she needs to go on a run. And so we as the audience, we're getting them almost saying goodbye to each other without him knowing that he's saying goodbye to her in a weird kind of way. On so many levels. And he's talking like he's saying goodbye. Thank you for being by my side. And at the same time, the fact that he can express it and she can hear it, even though he doesn't know it, but he can only express it to himself out loud, though, luckily, is so poetic. And back to that word. And it leaves her in tears and moved. But yeah, she's obviously heartbroken on many levels because she knows she has to leave. On the other side, she is moved that he recognizes her as someone special in his life. At the same time, it's heartbreaking that she needs to leave and that she's going to be all on her own. Let's quickly go to the shot that really is the one that I love. The shot that I love that I was talking about is the following one, when she leaves. Now, this is straight out of Misang, my memory. It's like this shot of her stepping out of her door in the early morning. It looks like looking at the giant city behind her, getting ready to go on the run, being all on her own. It's heartbreaking itself. She looks so tiny there with her big rucksack, and it feels like she's thinking, okay, here we go again. I'm on my own again. Let's go on the run. And I'm all alone. It just feels incredibly lonely. Cold, bluish colors. Here with the city behind her, it's like, okay, you're now just a speck in that giant city and you're all on your own, you know? It's just beautifully shot that they took so much time over this, of course. I mean, obviously nothing surprises you anymore because the director is very good. On she goes on the run. And that's the end. I hope you enjoyed the video. Now, one thing, if we haven't reached 1,000 subscribers yet by this point, make sure you subscribe, okay? And if you have a friend, get them to subscribe because we only have like 37 people left and then maybe we can monetize these videos. There's always so much interesting stuff coming from you. So let us chat in the comments. And we'll see each other again in episode 14. Oh my God, we're getting to the end. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking this video. It really helps. See you in the next one.